Hi, writers. It's Robin Mellum. I'm the author of 10 books with Disney Hyperion, HarperCollins, and Houghton Mifflin. And I'm here to teach you at this channel everything that you need to know about writing that I learned from my editors so that writing is more effortless and joyful for you. So today we're going to take a look at this skill, which is writing with sentence variety. Now, sentence variety falls under what's called sentence complexity. So think of complexity like an umbrella, and there are a couple of things under that umbrella, and variety is one of them. But I want us to take a look at the definition of complexity first. Complexity is the state or quality of being intricate or complicated. I talked about in past videos about how it's helpful for you to think of writing as a way to present a puzzle to your readers. You give them just enough information that they can sort of figure out what's going on. It's not confusing, though. So if you think of intricate, I want you to think of interesting. And complexity is going to make your writing way more interesting. So let's talk about sentence complexity. First, let me move myself over here. There we go. So you're going down the complexity path, and there are a couple of directions you can go in with this. You could either head to the left and do variety or head to the right and do structure. Now, in this video, we're going to focus on variety. I want to separate these out into two different kinds so that you can really, really work on the skill and get much better at it until you're finally able to put all of this together. So, what is sentence variety? Sentence variety means changing the length of your sentences on purpose. So authors do this. Sometimes they will make their sentences short, and sometimes they are very long. And basically, it's the mix of short, medium, and long sentences that will make your writing sound interesting and intricate, right? And when it sounds like that, it's much more real, and your reader is going to enjoy it. So, why does sentence variety even matter? Why do we need to do this? First of all, you're not a robot. Neither are your readers. As of the time of this recording, we are not robots and they are not readers. So, we're going to look at an example and try and figure out what not to do. So, just listen to this as I read it to you. I walked to the bus. I sat in my seat. I looked out the window. I waited for school. What do you notice about that paragraph? What stands out first for me is that every single sentence starts the exact same way. It starts with the word I. And then you'll also notice that the structure of it is set up where it's the subject, I, and then the verb right after it. Every single sentence. I walked, I sat, I looked, I waited. That's not intricate. It's not interesting. So we're going to figure out how to do this. There are 3 steps to vary your sentence length. First, once you write something, you are going to read it out loud and listen for the rhythm, which we'll practice here in just a minute. Step 2, you're going to find spots where every sentence is about the same length, where it gets a little monotonous, a little bit kind of gets into a rhythm that feels like it's the same all the time. And step 3 is to cut one of the sentences short, stretch one out, and combine 2 if it will help with the flow. So we're going to try this together. I'm going to give you a before and an after. Here's a before. The hallway was noisy. Couldn't hear my friend. I moved closer. We talked about lunch. So there's almost like the exact same number of syllables and words in each sentence. They're almost the exact same length. So let's rewrite this and see how much better it sounds. And I'm going to actually move over here before I do that. There we go. There was laughter, shrieks, yelling. The hallway was as noisy as a construction site. Leaning over, I tapped my friend on the shoulder. Let's go eat lunch. So do you see how the sound of that just sounds much more rhythmic and interesting to listen to? So here's a quick tip. If you want to say something that's sort of surprising, or maybe it's a reaction, it's really important to that moment, make it super short. Also, if you're doing action sentences should be short. So it'll make things go quicker and it'll feel quick in the reader's mind. You want to stop and look at the surroundings when you're describing, but not in the middle of like a really important action scene. Here's another one. I opened my locker. Some books fell out. I grabbed my book, I shut my locker, and went to class. So again, you can start to hear what we're doing here. They all start the same, sound the same. Too many syllables are the same. Let's rewrite. When I opened my locker, books tumbled to the floor. Not one book, five. Such a mess. With a groan, I stuffed them into my backpack, slammed the door shut, and raced to class, barely making it. So notice the use of long and short, and sometimes a short sentence. It can be one word, particularly when you're doing a personal narrative or any type of creative writing. Now, if you want to make your sentence short and punchy, if you're doing action or if you're saying like an emotional reaction, make the short one punchy. But the long sentence should be the one full of detail so we can really picture what's going on here. So let's take a look at this in action from Percy Jackson here. I want you to see how he uses sentence variety. Now, I separated out, I'm going to go over to this side actually. This is one section in the book, but I separated it out because I wanted you to see the pattern that starts to show up here. So listen as I read. Grover dashed inside. He dove behind a rack of wedding dresses. The monstrous shadow passed in front of the shop. I could smell the thing, a sickening combination of wet sheep wool and rotten meat and that weird sour body odor only monsters have, like a skunk that's been living off Mexican food. Grover trembled behind the wedding dresses. The monstrous shadow passed on. Silence, except for the rain. Grover took a deep breath. Maybe the thing was gone. Then lightning flashed. The entire front of the store exploded, and a monstrous voice bellowed, "Mine!" I sat bolt upright, shivering in my bed. There was no storm, no monster. So now let's take a look at the patterns that he's created here with his writing. And you'll see how he's using short and medium, medium and long, medium, medium, and then back and forth so that there's interest here and there's almost a rhythm to it. It almost can sound like music or poetry. So here's your challenge. You are going to rewrite a paragraph using sentence variety. Your job is to make one of the sentences short, make one of them long. You could combine them together if that would help it. Then when you're done, you're going to read it out loud and just ask yourself, did I make this more interesting? Does this sound better when I read it out loud? So let's take a look at what you're going to rewrite. I made a sandwich. I poured some juice. I sat down. I ate lunch. So I want you to rewrite that. Use sentence variety, put things together, add stuff in there, add details, and see what you can come up with and see if you can make your writing sound much better for your reader. So, one final thought here. Great writers don't just think about what they say, they think about how it sounds on the page and how it sounds in the reader's mind. So, vary your length and your writing will sing. So, that's all for this one. I'll see you in the next video. And teachers, look below for your free worksheet.